It is that time once again where we have come to the end of a year. 2019 has brought us some great films. So in this video, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 movies of 2019. Hopefully this goes without saying, but this is my opinion. So there's going to be movies on this that you don't like. There's going to be movies that you like that I missed and did not put on this list. There's also going to be a lot of movies that I haven't seen yet, and it's driving me crazy. I have not yet seen Uncut Gems, Little Women, and a lot of other great Oscar movies that are going to win a lot of awards, and I just haven't had the time to see them yet. Debating, do I wait and put this video up in January by the time I've seen all those movies? I mean, I'm just going to put out this list because I feel like this list is going to more represent the top 10 movies that I did actually watch in 2019. So yeah, if you move forward in a couple years and look back and say like, okay, these were my favorite movies from the year 2019, that's probably going to be a little different list than my favorite movies right now that I have watched in the past 365 days. Before we get to the actual list, I'm going to just list off some movies that I do think still need to be mentioned. They just didn't quite crack my list. I want to give two very big shout outs to Netflix movies, both The Irishman and Marriage Story. These were two incredible films, just top-notch acting being done in these movies. They deserve to be remembered. There weren't a lot of amazing horror movies in this year. However, we did get Ready or Not and Midsommar, which were two just thrillers. And if you're a fan of horror, you're probably going to enjoy both of these. Rocketman was by far the best musical this year, while The Lighthouse was one of the most interesting films I've just seen in general. We got a great comic book movie from Joker. We got a great drama in The Last Black Man in San Francisco. I enjoy all those movies. Great films. However, not quite on my top 10. What is on my top 10? Let's find out. So coming in at 10 is Ford v Ferrari. Now I have a full review on this video, so please check it out. I'll link it in the description below. But this movie is the ultimate dad movie in the best way possible. Incredible story about a subject that I wasn't particularly interested in. However, while watching this movie, it just pulls you in and you want to learn more about the racing world. The cinematography of the racing seasons are incredible, with a very compelling story that's going to pull all sorts of emotions from you. This is a great film, number 10 of 2019. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the 9th film from Quentin Tarantino, and I absolutely adored this movie. Right now, it's probably like top 5, maybe even top 3 of his films that I just love. Now, it is a Tarantino movie, so like, I don't know, I feel like he's hit or miss with some people, but for me, like, I'm just all in. This is a great story, following a lot of the similar styles that we've seen him do before. Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, they are just giving incredible work in this movie. Their acting is just top notch, and it is so fun to see their chemistry on screen together. This movie is a slow burn for some people. However, I believe the third act really comes through, and it's some of the most fun I've had in the theater this summer. The Farewell is just an amazing movie, and Awkwafina is just incredible at what she does in this movie. It tells a somewhat true story of a Chinese-American woman, and she's going back to China to kind of say goodbye to her grandma, but the family isn't telling the grandma that the grandma's dying. They know, the grandma doesn't know, and so it's like this mixing of culture where this girl played by Awkwafina doesn't quite understand why the family isn't telling the grandma that she's dying. The majority of this movie is not in English, so that can be a turnoff for some people. However, it's well worth it. This movie is so well acted. The story is so compelling, and I don't want to get too deep or personal, but I did lose my grandma this year, and so seeing this movie, like, I think it was a month after that event happened for me, it hit deep. It was personal. And I think even if you haven't lost someone recently, if you literally just care for anyone in your life, this movie is going to be one that is very personal to you as well. Farewell, I'm so worried it's not going to get as much Oscar buzz as it deserves, because it deserves so much. It's a great film. Booksmart tells the story of two high school girls wanting to live one night of just freedom, fun, no worries. They spent their whole high school career being goody-goody two-shoes, and now here is their time to just go all out and have a great night. Now, being that this movie does star two female leads, it's a little different than other high school comedies that we've seen in the past. However, it pays enormous tribute to those movies as well, with a lot of references and just similar shots that we've seen, a lot of tropes to this genre, but done in a very new and fresh, interesting way. Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein are so fun to watch. Their chemistry is amazing. I just want to see so many more movies with these two actresses in them. It's funny. It is so funny. Booksmart is a great movie. It definitely deserves to be on the top 10 of 2019. Number 6, we see Jordan Peele's second movie, Us. Now, this is a horror movie through and through. He tweeted out that Us is a horror movie. He wants to make it perfectly clear. This is a horror movie. Us is a perfect type of movie that spawns conversations. Even if you didn't like the movie, you couldn't help but talk about it because you had to talk about what you didn't like about it. There's twists, turns, layers, levels, the imagery, the symbolism, the underlining theme and message that this is really telling about America as a whole. It's all fantastic. And again, it's a horror movie. It is so terrifying. This is another movie that deserves so much Oscar buzz, especially for Lupita Nyong'o. She is so good in this movie. I might even say that she does deserve to win Best Actress in a movie. Needless to say, Jordan Peele has proven that he is here to stay, and I cannot wait to see more movies directed by him. Jojo Rabbit, directed by Taika Waititi, is another movie that just proves Taika Waititi is an incredible director, and I cannot wait to see so many films directed by him. This is another movie that I have a full review down in the description, so please click that if you want to hear my full thoughts on this movie. Ultimately, it's great. The acting and the characters are so fun. It balances comedy, satire with drama, and really emotional scenes, and some of the most emotional imagery I've seen in 2019. Telling a story about a little boy joining the Nazis is not an easy task, especially trying to make it funny, and especially adding an imaginary friend who's Hitler. Jojo Rabbit manages to do that, again telling a fantastic story, being funny, being dramatic. It's such a unique film, one of the most unique films I have seen all year. Jojo Rabbit, I love this movie. The Art of Self-Defense, I believe, is one of the most underrated movies of this year. I cannot believe that more people have not seen this movie, and I cannot believe that more people aren't talking about it because this movie is so good. This movie is the darkest of dark comedy you can get, and it still tells a compelling story about toxic masculinity and what it means to be a man. There are some gags and bits from this movie that I constantly think about and just laugh, thinking how absurd they are, and I can't share this with anyone because not many people have seen this movie. The acting, the imagery, the color scheme that's being used, there's a lot of visual jokes being used here, which is something that we don't see as much in movies, but the director of this movie is using every sort of sense he can to make sure you understand what he's trying to say in this movie. So this movie does deserve to come in at number 4, but more importantly, I do say that this is the number 1 underrated movie of this year. Knives Out coming in at number 3 shouldn't be a surprise to too many people, especially if you've seen my review on it. Again, link down in the description. But I love Knives Out. I love Rian Johnson. I know that's super controversial to say in this day and age, but he's a great director. I'm sorry, I love his work. Knives Out does something that is just so fascinating. It tells this murder mystery in a day and age where murder mysteries are kind of extinct, at least in the film world. A murder mystery is something that you would read in the early 20th century in a book, and now you kind of maybe see it on TV, or like last one season of a murder mystery, but like in movies, it just doesn't work anymore. But Knives Out proves all those theories wrong, that you can still make a compelling murder mystery, and one that's unique, bringing all sorts of variety of characters. I mean, again, this cast is just an all-star cast. I can't emphasize enough how much talent is in this movie while still telling a story that you've never seen before. Funny, keeps you on the edge of your seat. You don't really know where it's going, even though it kind of tells you where it's going. It kind of tricks you even when you think you're ahead of the movie. Switching genres, using every single actor to their full potential in this movie, Knives Out is just a great time for everyone. Parasite is just a beautiful film. It again saddens me that it's not going to get as much Oscar love as it deserves, but like the director Bong Joon-ho has said, the Oscars are a regional film festival, which is so sad but kind of honest. Similar to Knives Out, which I'm now realizing I didn't really talk about when I talked about Knives Out, but this movie tells a story of wealth, immigrants, the struggle between the wealthy and the poor, and the divide that not only America has, but also in other countries, they still have the same issues that we do. And I know, like, that's so terrible, right? Like, let's compare this amazing Korean film to our problems in America, but, like, that's the lens I see it through. So, to me, it's eye-opening to see a story be told across the world and see how it can relate to pretty much everyone. Parasite does that. And again, the biggest barrier is that it is a foreign film, so not a lot of people like to read subtitles, but you should. And again, I'm just going to promote myself every single time I can, but I got a full review down in the description. Hear my full thoughts on this movie, but this movie just tells a very compelling story. Keeps you on the edge of your seat while telling a very simple tale, and the relationship between the two main families in this are so compelling, being so well acted out. It's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, wanting more and more and more. If this list wasn't my favorite and simply based on technical aspects of what makes a great film, there's no doubt Parasite probably should be number one. However, I'm just a little biased, so like, I'm sorry. So my number one film of 2019, and again, I tried some different things. I kind of thought like, okay, Parasite, should it be number one? Are there other movies on this list that should be number one? And the more I thought about it, like, I can't get around my bias. And so if I'm being completely honest, which I hope that you want me to be honest, my number one movie of 2019 is Avengers Endgame. So Avengers Endgame is just such a personal movie to me. I grew up watching these movies, and I know growing up, right, I was in high school when they first started coming out, but however, they were like very important to those years of my life. This movie wraps up 20 plus movies that I grew up watching, every single one in the most incredible way that I don't think we're going to see again in cinema, at least not for a long time. The fact that they can just build up this hype, bring in all these A-list actors and actresses, combine them all into one story that just wraps up so perfectly. Again, I understand why people may not like this movie, may not put it on their list, or especially not number one, but for me, I would be lying to myself if I didn't say that this was my favorite movie of the year. The theater experience, when some of these things happened for the first time, it was the most powerful theater experience I think I have ever experienced. And I know that's a lot of experience to throw into one run-on sentence, but that's just the way it is. So Avengers Endgame definitely deserves to be number one on my list. Alright, here's the part where you comment below and tell me where I got it wrong. What were some of your favorite movies of 2019? What are ones that I just haven't seen yet that I need to? Again, there's so many Oscar buzz movies that they come out in December, so it's hard to watch them all before I put out a video like this. I will be seeing much more of those, but until then, comment below, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you next time.